to Nim and Nylene's Nightmare Cottage, where we discuss dark locations, sinister media, and other tales of the macabre. I'm Nim.
And I'm Nylene. Let the nightmare begin.
Disturbing and mature content to follow. Into the nightmare, if you dare.
If it's not horribly inappropriate, I like to leave it. I don't know.
What constitutes horribly inappropriate at this point?
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I'll point it out
Now,
next time I see
I feel like poop is too far.
Well, we did talk about that poor kid who.
Oh yeah. Nope. See,
Asteroids kid. Yeah.
But we didn't go into detail. I feel like poop is too far.
Detail poop is probably too far. I can't think of a situation where it wouldn't be, but I don't want to completely take poop off the table.
You shouldn't have poop on the table to begin with. I just hope you know that.
I was not prepared for this to be our conversation.
It's usually how it goes for most of our conversations.
Yeah, that's fair.
For any of you that think that this is every time. This is us just in general. Like, it's impossible for us to not talk to each other most of the time before we record, and we just kind of sit there staring at each other awkwardly like, there's so much I want to say to you.
Right.
But how's things?
Things are good. I don't know. The most interesting thing that happened to me recently was our trip to the World Oddities Expo.
Yes, the World Oddities Expo. I found it a couple nights before we decided to go, and I just so happened to have Bashi with me as well. So we took him with us. We took my 3-year-old. And honestly, it was really cool because I think they kept most of the really gruesome stuff behind a curtain. Mm. So it wasn't anything that would be too far for him. But he likes spiders, and he likes bones. He likes to point out bones. And it was funny because he was touching one of the pelts. And I don't know if he realized what it was, but I love to watch the look on his face when he's doing stuff. I don't know. Yes. And he's just he touched it, and then he got to the part where it attaches to the nose, and he did one of those but just not audible, but the face was
So I've never really been scared of taxidermy and stuff, but I think I was probably too weirded out to touch them when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's fair.
I would never reach out and touch them even now. I don't I'm not weirded out by them. It's not something I would do, but because Bashi was there, I wanted to show him that it was safe. Mm-hmm. So it was a teachable moment. So I would pet the nose of the stuffed lion.
Oh, yes. No, I definitely learned that being with him, it's very much when when you and I get together in public, we become more brave for the other person.
That's so true.
It's like the they forgot my ketchup. And it's no, don't make a deal about it. You're I'll just go get you some fucking ketchup. But if I was by myself, I would not ever get the fucking ketchup, right?
Yes.
It's that whole thing. And I feel it's the same with him because you have to be brave for him so that he can be brave for himself, right?
And just show him that it's not anything to be scared of. Look, it's a soft kitty lion with massive teeth that you're petting right now.
Yes. But yeah, the people there were amazing. They all had such great stories. The people running the booths were so great. There was upon getting there was this really, really nice lady that noticed that he wanted to touch everything. And there was a lot of don't touch that. We look with our eyes, not with our hands. No, don't do that. Don't put that back. It was a lot. And this sweet, sweet lady, what was her booth called? Do you have it still?
I believe I do, because that was the lady with Molly the haunted doll.
No, it wasn't the lady with Molly the haunted doll.
Oh,
no, that was a different story. But no, she had the gem booth, the one with a bunch of the different stones.
Mojo Mama.
Yeah. So she was so nice. She gave him a little purple crystal so that he could hold it and carry it around in a little baggie. It was very safe, but
does he still care? Does he ask about his crystal?
Okay, he's asked about it a few times, and I gave it to Ace because I was hey, I need you to figure out a way that we can give him this crystal without it being dangerous. Because, it's one thing, you're walking around the fair with it. Mm-hmm. It's another thing entirely to, let him have free reign of this tiny little crystal that he can swallow and choke on.
I've got some display boxes that I have for rocks that I steal from places I visit?
I'm just wondering, like, I need to be able to put it in something clear that he can shake it up in. So probably like a jar of some kind
Good idea.
that it won't break the jar
That's a good
or
idea.
the stone. So
I
like
may have something.
plastic
I've
jar.
got like shatterproof jars for herbs.
Oh, nice.
So
There
I'll
you
look
go.
at what I got. I'll bring them over. You can pick.
Okay.
And then there was Molly the haunted doll.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if I've said this before, but I feel very similarly to dolls as I do about clowns. And oh God, they had so many of those there. So many. It was not okay.
I thought it was great.
I was not okay. But yes, that doll with the missing eyes, it was not cool.
So tell me about Molly the haunted doll.
Okay, so Molly the haunted doll. So the lady said, what was her booth called?
Her booth was called Readings in Claromancy, but Bash grabbed my hand.
Claromancy, you mute.
Yeah. And he was more important at the moment. So
yes. So readings in Claromancy. Yes, she was doing readings. And speaking of, this lady, her outfit was so great, so amazing. But yeah, she was also doing readings in that area too. She said that she liked to go antiquing, and there's a place that she typically goes to where she just would see this doll there, like for like the past 4 or 5 times she's been there. She just always sees this doll there. And you know, one day she was asking about it, and I think the lady, the shopkeeper, had said, take her if you want to. Like, I don't want her. Like, she's haunted. And, you know, she thought it was just like, you know, part of the charm of it all. And so she bought it, and along with like a little box that she keeps her in to put her in, just because she wanted to like put her on the wall. But she was saying that, you know, she took her home, and, you know, after a while, like she said they were having problems with like the lights in that room or something.
I do.
Yeah. And then that's when she started noticing that, you know, she would, you know, like maybe fall over a little bit in the box. And she was like, yeah, you know, like it was probably people walking by or whatever it might be. But then they like try to prop her up, and then they started trying to record it, and they could see like a shift in her when nothing was around. So yeah, I think she was trying to sell her though.
She was $200, and if I were less responsible with my money, she may have come home with me.
I would never go into your house again, ever. I'm going to let you know right now, if you ever get a haunted doll, do not tell me, because I will not go to your house. I have nightmares about haunted dolls. Not doing it. Okay, so like, I don't know if you want to keep this in the episode, but I'm going to tell you. So one of my most prevalent nightmares when I was little, I couldn't have been more than 4 or 5. And this is where my fear of dolls came from. So I think I brought up the Chucky thing, where, you know, my dad had it on, and that was a problem. But ever since I was little, I've had this dream that I go out onto my balcony and I see a baby doll that's like, it's one of the baby dolls with like the head like is normal, like that plastic, but the body is like cloth. You know what I'm talking about? And the arms are like plastic. But she's like naked. So it's just the baby doll. And so, as they usually are, because, you know, kids. And I never had a baby doll like that when I was little. So I pick her up, I look at her, and all of a sudden I feel a pressure on the back of my neck. And my perspective changes. Ooh. And I fall to the floor. And I see myself walking away. And the doll is now me. And I am the doll.
That's fucking rad.
Yes. I have had this dream since, like I said, like I was 4 or 5. And ever since then, I am just terrified of dolls. And it's irrational. I 100% know it's irrational. But like, even though it's of the kind of doll it was, I'm especially afraid of like the porcelain ones, of course, because they're just creepy. And
because they have those realistic eyes. It's that uncanny valley again.
And also the ones that look like ventriloquist dummies. I hate them.
I love those so much.
Because they look too much like people. And the worst part about all this, I'll ask my mom if she can send me the picture. So when I told my mom when I was older, like, this is why I was always afraid of, because I would always have nightmares of some kind. So of course, like, she doesn't remember every single one, but I told her, I was like, this is why I hate dolls. And she was like, oh my God, you would have hated my room when I was little. And I was like, what do you mean? And she shows me a picture. Now, my mom is one of 7. She had like 4 or 5 other sisters. And a few of them shared a room at a time, right? Depending on age. The entire room, and I mean the entire room, has dolls hanging from the ceiling by their hair.
Oh.
So they would get like a clear string and put it right here and hang them on the ceiling. And I'm like, that is horrifying. Like, she showed me the picture. It is I'm like, why would your mother do this?
Okay, first of all, if you can find that picture.
Her mother did it for them. And she's like, well, we didn't think it was creepy. We thought it was fun and cute. And I'm like, who the fuck thinks that's cute? Because it's not. It's not. There's nothing that is horrifying. But yeah, so what else did you really like about it?
Okay, so it was this convention's first year. So there's the oddities and curiosities ones that a lot of people know about already.
Oh, I thought that's what this was.
It was not. No,
Oh.
no. This was the first year for this one, and I've been to some first year conventions before. No complaints. It was relatively small, which actually worked in our favor because I think we were both over it once the flood came in around noon.
Yes.
But I don't know. I like being in a room with so many other people that like the dark stuff that it's like the vibe I would used to get when I'd go to concerts a lot and like just being in this room full of everybody of the same energy of
yeah, like the guy behind us was driving a hearse.
Yes. Yes. And I don't know, I don't feel so other in those kinds of situations.
That's fair.
And yeah, I mean, I just like looking at the various things, and it's pretty much all just candles and crystals and taxidermy. Like, it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again. Oh, and Bash got to hold a tarantula.
Yes, that was awesome. Yeah, because I mean, I love tarantulas. They're so sweet. It's funny, when I got home, I told Ace and I was like, hey, he was like, he held a spider. And I'm like, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. Because it's just like, Ace is very not okay with spiders. Very, very, very not okay. Him and his dad both have pretty bad arachnophobia, but I love spiders.
Does he have an issue with Bash playing with the spider?
It's just more like, it's all right. Like, the first thing he said was like, I mean, it's a tarantula at a convention. It's defanged and had its venom removed. And I was like, so not necessarily. And he was like, you seriously? And I'm like, listen, it's fine. Well, first of all. Second of all, like, that's so mean. She said it's kind of like declawing a cat. Like, they need that. So
it's how they digest their food.
Yeah, like, they need it. And third of all, like, this lady had him out at a convention. Like, she was letting people actively hold it. You're not going to do that if your spider is venomous, first of all, or a problem. And second of all, she said she doesn't really attack. Like, she's a really sweet little girl, blah, blah, whatever. And I was like, and I held her, and like, it was more just like that knee-jerk reaction. It wasn't like he was like, how dare you? It was more like the worry. It's the parent worry, you know?
I'm so glad he wasn't there so Bash could still experience it.
He probably still would have.
Okay.
It would have just been a lot of Ace standing back there, like, making a face at me, like, ah!
But that's what would scare Bash, though. Like,
that's true.
That could instill that fear in him when there's no reason for fear.
Yeah. But I mean,
now he got to play with the fuzzy little spider.
Yes, he was fine with it after, I told him and I showed him the picture and he was like, okay. But yeah, like, I cannot stop staring at your boobs. I'm so sorry. They look good.
Do you want me to?
Hey, ladies out there, I want you to know it's okay. I think we need to bring back, like, complimenting each other's boobies. Not in a sexual way. Not in a kind of like, you're like, you know what? I really like your hair today. Like, I really like your boobs today. I feel like every little lady needs that in their life. Just that little pick me up of, like, from not a creepy guy.
Right. Yes.
Just your creepy friends not sexualizing you, just telling you look pretty.
Right. Appreciating nice tits where nice tits are there.
Exactly.
Because you can't just really say that to a lot of strangers.
Exactly.
Usually. Like, there's maybe some situations where you can get away with it.
There's been a few times I have.
Right?
But I mean, that was probably drunk Nylene. So lastly, before we move on, my favorite part was when I told you to away with Bash for a second so that I could, I think I was buying something or I was looking at something.
Bottled water?
No, I was getting a poster of Adventure Time things.
Right.
A darkened version of, like, the the Lich and Adventure Time, which was amazing, by the way. Anyways, so yes, so I told you to go away with him, and he was spending so much time on your shoulders. I felt so bad for you. But there was a moment there where I looked around and I could not find you guys. And I was like, it was an, oh no, not, oh no, like what, like I was concerned for like him. It was like, I was concerned for you. I was like, oh, he's taken her, and like he's going to overwhelm her, or he's going to ask her for something and she's not going to know what to do. And I messaged you, and where do I find you? In the middle of the aisle, where she would never ever be on her best day. And with a little toddler just sitting there playing in the aisle in front of a show, not in the front of a show, but watching a show. So yeah, that was my favorite. I think just watching him like get you out of your shell, and
he definitely he removes the shell. The shell just goes away when he's there. I would do anything for that kid.
Oh,
he's the greatest.
Yeah, he pretty much is the best.
I'm actually gonna revise my favorite thing about it. I really enjoyed spending that time with both of you. It was so fun, and I don't know. I felt loved.
Oh, well, you are loved, so that's good.
No, you.
All right, it's getting too sappy.
All right, let's fuck some shit up.
All right.
I'm going to tell you some stories today.
All about how your life got turned upside down. Sorry.
I was torn between...
That was a Nim look, in case anyone was curious.
I'm going to be telling you stories, and not in West Philadelphia.
Okay, what are your stories about today?
Are you familiar with the various legends of Headless Horsemen?
So, like, yes and no. Like, mainly just from, like, the standpoint of, like, it's a Headless Horseman and something to do. Like, the one that you told about that Candle Jack or something. What was it?
Yeah, Stingy Jack.
Stingy Jack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well... most people have at least heard of Washington Irving's short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to cover that one first.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen the Tim Burton version. Have you seen any other Legend of Sleepy Hollow media?
I didn't see the Tim Burton version.
Oh, really? Okay.
No. The only one I remember was a cartoon one from back in the day. Yeah, that one.
Okay, yeah. So that's also the one that I most remember. That was the one that I watched as a kid.
Yeah.
It was The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Yes!
And so it was two separate stories. It had Wind of the Willows and The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So that's the one that stuck with me. That's the one I always think of first. Yeah, I did read the short story at some point when I was a kid, but I didn't read it again until I was prepping for this. In my head, it was a book. It's actually a short story.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I associated things from the cartoon with my memories of the original, so I was really surprised that the story was so short. There's no dialogue, and the story is told from the perspective of someone who heard the story from someone else. And I already showed you the pictures, and I'm glad that that's the one you remember too. So I'm going to give just like a quick summary of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
Ichabod Crane is the new teacher for the superstitious town of Sleepy Hollow. He's a decidedly awkward dude, and he falls in love with Katrina Van Tassel, the local hot heiress. And he tries to court her on the sly. But he has to be smooth about it because the local beefcake, Brom Bones, also has the hot for Katrina.
Is this the one with Johnny Depp?
That is the Tim Burton one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's not faithful, but also it really villainizes women. And I do have fond memories of that movie, but when you look back at it, it's like every woman in that is demonized.
Okay, that's like everything from our childhood.
I know.
Even though our childhood was 10 years apart. You can take that part out.
Well, there's so many mentions of us being 10 years apart. It's fine. So Brom was aware that Ichabod was going after Katrina, but Ichabod did not make himself available to get his ass kicked. Brom recruited his friends to harass Ichabod, but Ichabod stood firm. Later that fall, there was a harvest party at the Van Tassel home. People were telling ghost stories, and Brom recounted the legend of the Headless Horseman, said to be the ghost of a Haitian soldier from the Revolutionary War. And the Haitian soldiers were just known for being very, very brutal. This soldier apparently had his head removed with a cannon.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Sometime after the ghost stories, Ichabod decided it was time to tell Katrina how he felt. The narrator says he doesn't know how the conversation went, but that Ichabod left quickly and did not look pleased. We then get the showdown between the Headless Horseman and Ichabod Crane. And by showdown, I mean that Ichabod, scared shitless, tried to shake the shadowed rider that had begun to chase him, but to no avail. The following day, the townspeople found on the other side of the bridge out of town Ichabod's hat and a shattered pumpkin. He was never heard from again.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. So while the legend of Sleepy Hollow was definitely an American folktale, it had its origins from Europe. I think we at least briefly mentioned the Wild Hunt in our holiday episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's likely going to be its own episode in the future, so I'm not going to get too deep into that. But basically,
She keeps saying.
I know. But basically, the Wild Hunt is of Germanic roots and depicts an entourage of fearsome beasts and hunters with a typically named character at the lead, like Odin, Frau Perchta, or Henry Cavill.
Yes. He can be in anything he wants to be.
Anything?
Anything.
Washington Irving wrote Sleepy Hollow while traveling through Europe and meeting his contemporaries. It's likely he would have explored the history and folklore of the area, and he came in contact with a poem that likely lent inspiration from Gottfried August Berger, Der Wildjager, which translates into Wild Huntsman. The other more likely culprit as a source of inspiration was the Irish Dullahan. This thing is fucking cool. The Dullahan was a Celtic fertility god whose tradition involved decapitations as tribute.
Like she would decapitate people, or people decapitated in tribute of her?
Him. Decapitated in tribute to him.
Okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it.
He was dropped with the introduction of Christianity, and now he's just big, mad, and restless and wanders the Irish countryside. Like most ancient monsters, the descriptions vary from village to village. He's always headless, and there's always a horse. Sometimes the head is not there at all. Sometimes he's holding it. Sometimes it's attached to the pommel of the saddle, which is my favorite because every time I think of that, I hear a squish of it being put on the... Yeah, sorry.
See, I don't know why I imagined one that was like, that you took the guts out and then you put it on there.
Oh, that's probably more...
No, yours makes the most sense.
Squish. The horse is usually black and sometimes also headless. Sometimes the horse is pulling...
Wait, horse is headless?
Sometimes.
Aw, I don't like that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes the horse is pulling a hearse carriage.
Oh, that's okay.
The wheels of the carriage are made from human bones.
Ooh, fun.
In some accounts, the Dullahan horse and carriage are all completely silent. And my favorite part, the Dullahan carries a whip made of a human spine.
Ooh.
That sounds just really awesome. If you see a Dullahan, you or someone you know is going to suffer a terrible fate. But if you throw gold in its path, he'll disappear, and the horrible fate will not come to pass.
Apparently, we need to make sure we're wearing gold jewelry if we go to Ireland.
Some other headless legends include a whole bunch of saints that were beheaded, referred to as cephalophores or head carrier in Greek. These were generally martyrs for their causes, and there were several such saints depicted in paintings and sculptures. Some pictures.
Oh, I have, oddly enough, not seen these. Interesting.
Yeah, there's tons of them. I just picked a few. There's like a ridiculous amount of ancient art depicting saints carrying their heads after having been slaughtered for their cause. And now, perhaps the most well-known headless legend on a horse comes from Arthurian legends. Are you familiar with the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight?
No.
Okay. During a winter celebration in King Arthur's castle, a massive knight, all in green, on a green horse, enters the Great Hall and issues a challenge. He will not request a duel because everyone there is too weak. Instead, he will allow someone to deal him a blow in any way they see fit, and in a year and a day, the Green Knight would return the same blow.
Oh.
Sir Gawain was King Arthur's nephew and not yet a Knight of the Round Table. He stepped forward. In one slash, he removed the head of the Green Knight. At that point, instead of falling over dead, the Green Knight picked up his head and through it reminded Gawain that in a year and a day, they must meet at the Green Chapel so he could return the blow.
I was about to say, like, why would you do that? He just told you what would happen.
Well, clearly, if the man doesn't have a head, you would think.
No, this is clearly a fuck around and find out situation.
Absolutely.
And he definitely fucked around like a dum-dum.
You ready to find out?
I mean, I feel like I already know what's going to happen.
Okay, well, let's see. Good to his word, because he's a knight or wants to be in the Round Table, Gawain set out to find the Green Chapel. On his way, he stopped to meet the lord and lady of a lovely castle. He told them of his adventures, and they invited him to rest there for a few days. Each day, the lord offered to give Gawain whatever he got hunting if Gawain would give him whatever he gained that day. The first day, while the lord was hunting, his wife tried to get into Gawain's pants.
Okay.
He rebuked her advances, but she gave him a kiss. When the Lord returned with the day's catch, Gawain traded him a kiss with no explanation. This repeated for 2 more days.
This has totally gone in a different direction.
I know. This is the least spooky of them, but it's the most well-known.
This turned into a what's it called?
Porn?
Oh, I meant like where you pineapple, where you
swingers?
Yeah, swingers. Yeah. A swinger situation.
Yeah, gotcha.
Nothing wrong with being poly. I just think it's funny.
Not where you expected a spooky story to go. Yeah. So this repeated for 2 more days, but on the 3rd day, the lady insisted that he take her scarf along with the kiss. She said it was enchanted, and if he wore it, harm would never befall him. Since he was heading towards his own beheading, he was too tempted to pass it up. But she made him swear not to tell her husband. So when the Lord returned, Gawain exchanged a kiss for the day's catch, but did not mention the scarf. At this point, he leaves the castle to complete the journey and go to the Green Chapel. When he arrives, the Green Knight is there, and Gawain kneels and exposes his neck. The Green Knight swings his sword, and Gawain flinches. The Green Knight gives him shit, but then goes for another swing. But he doesn't complete this one either. Gawain is just barely nicked on the neck. The knight tells Gawain he was testing his courage and conviction. The Green Knight is then revealed to be the lord of the castle and has been glamoured by Morgan Le Fay. The reason he was nicked was because he wasn't honest about the scarf. The end. I'm going to talk about one more Headless Horseman story. This one has much more recent origins. I'm going to take you to South Texas in the 1840s, 1850s.
Ooh, not a good time.
Not great. At this time, the area between the Rio Grande and the Nueces River were truly lawless. The border was being disputed at the time, and the U.S. and Mexico were fighting over which one made the Texas-Mexico border. So that land in between those 2 rivers was really dangerous.
Yeah.
The Rio Grande was ultimately decided as the actual border, but it took decades to implement that. The Texas Rangers were formed specifically for this reason. They were formed to get this under control. One of these Texas Rangers was Creed Taylor. Several of his prized horses were taken by a prolific horse thief named Vidal. Taylor did not take kindly to this, so he got fellow ranger William Alexander Anderson Bigfoot Wallace.
No.
All of these names. And tracked down Vidal and his crew. They waited until nightfall and murdered them all. But as it seems people like this are wont to do, killing them did not satiate their rage, because they were dickbags. They wanted to send a message to the other thieves and bandits. I mean, yes, stealing is wrong, but this is a little bit harsh. They had already done so many heinous things like stringing dead bandits up from trees and leaving them hanging, or chopping them up and leaving pieces of their bodies for wild animals. And because that apparently wasn't teaching them, they wanted to go a step further. So Taylor had Bigfoot chop off his head, mount him to the saddle attached to the wild horse, tie the head to the saddle, and let them loose.
Oh my gosh.
The body was eventually found and buried, but there have been sightings of a headless man on a horse in that area at night ever since.
That's sad. That poor horse.
There is more to that story, but 2 of the 3 sources I found were very whitewashed, and I hated them.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
And so I don't have more information, but anyways, that was some of the many legends of head deficient equestrians.
Ooh, loving it.
I am ready. Bring it.
So today, I'm going to tell you about the Empress of Austria, Elisabeth. How much do you know about this little lady?
Maybe nothing.
There's a lot about her, and I'm going to just go ahead and warn you, it was so hard to stay on topic because there's just so much about her life that is not in this. Like, I really do suggest you and everyone else who likes to learn things, just Google her and like look up stuff. As you go deeper and deeper, it just gets weirder. But yeah, so anyways.
I wonder if there's a podcast I can listen to that'll tell me about it.
Probably not. So the first bit is just going to be a little bit of background. So she was born Duchess Elisabeth Emilie Eugene in Bavaria on December 24th, 1837. It's Christmas Eve, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
She eventually became the Empress of Austria and Queen of Hungary in 1854 after her marriage to Franz Joseph I of Austria. For those of you that are like me and hear Franz and say, oh, Franz Ferdinand. It's a different guy entirely. Apparently, Franz Ferdinand is Franz Joseph I's nephew and the eventual heir to the throne. But we'll get there. Franz Joseph I was Elizabeth's first cousin and the child of her aunt, the Archduchess Sophie. So the fun part about all of this was that Elisabeth was not originally supposed to be the empress. The role was originally promised to her sister, Helene, but the emperor fell in love with Elisabeth instead. And for those of you that did the math earlier, they married when she was only 16. Yeah. Again, it was all natural at the time, but yeah, still a little icky.
Yeah.
So, because she was not raised to be a royal, she was challenged a lot in her role as empress and struggled with the confinement and restrictions that came with being a royal at the time. Being tasked to produce an heir, she had 4 children, 3 of them before her 21st birthday, and they were difficult births. But she only had 1 male heir. Her aunt and mother-in-law, Archduchess Sophie, saw Elisabeth as unfit to raise her royal children, so she took the role of mother over grandmother onto herself, along with the help of a governess. So basically had her pushing out kids and then took them from her.
Great.
Yeah, so to make matters worse, in 1857, Elisabeth insisted on taking her 2 children with her on a visit to Hungary, and her 2-year-old daughter, Sophie, caught typhoid and died.
Aww.
So that didn't really help the perception that she couldn't look after her kids. Death did seem to follow her, because later in life, in 1889, her 30-year-old son, Rudolph, was found dead in his bed next to his 17-year-old mistress, Baroness Mary Vestera. So while there is a lot of mystery surrounding the murder, it seems to have been a murder-suicide pact that the lovers had made. The medical reports showed that Mary had been dead for upwards of 40 hours at the time she was found. She was covered in blood and holding wilted flowers. The crown prince, Rudolph, had died more recently and was laying next to her. With Rudolph being the only heir to the throne, the royal family, including Elisabeth, went into damage control mode. In order to remove Mary from the property without anyone noticing, she was dressed up, put in a carriage as if she was still alive, and a stick placed in the back of her dress to prop her up.
Oh, gross.
Yes, her death certificate was noted that she committed suicide, and she was buried so quickly and secretly that even her own mother was not able to attend the funeral. As for the prince, he would not be able to have a church burial if he would have committed suicide, and the optics on that just, weren't good. So the medical certificate was signed off that he was not responsible for his actions at the time that he killed himself. An insanity plea to the church is kind of what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
So he was buried in the church against, what should have happened at the time. All this to say, the pressure to appear in control and in good health was something that was really, really important to the royals and really plagued Elisabeth throughout her life.
Mm-hmm.
So a few fun facts in that story I just told. Firstly, Emperor Franz Joseph had the hunting lodge that his son died in converted into a convent. They even had the altar permanently placed in the spot in his bedroom where they were found dead.
Oh, that's dark.
Yes. Secondly, Elizabeth's mourning clothes and mask were amazingly beautiful. Oh my gosh. All black with a beautiful velvet lace, glass beads, ostrich feathers, a full mask that made her look like a raven.
Is there pictures of this?
Yes. I will tag it on the site. Apparently a lot of her clothing is actually on display in different places. That's the mask.
Oh.
Yes. And again, I'll put these on the site. And then this is the dress.
I want it.
I know. It's really pretty. But yeah, those are the people that killed themselves. That was a suicide note. And yeah, more of the dress.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I could do a whole show on Victorian mourning clothes.
Oh, I know. I have
some notes.
Something similar.
Nice.
Not quite that though. So yeah, with the deaths of her children looming over her and now having no heir to the throne, she was kind of known to be really depressed and really flighty for obvious reasons at this point. She spent most of her life traveling away from the court. She's best known historically for her integral role in the joining of Hungary and Austria and her immense beauty. She had a really intense beauty regimen of warm oil baths, eye masks made of raw veal and strawberries.
Oh, that's definitely different.
Yes. Distilled water baths and vinegar for soaking her clothes in. I don't know, maybe got the stench out
Yeah,
of, I don't
I
know.
imagine that would be that. Warm oil bath.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe to
It
keep her...
seems like counterproductive.
I agree with that. She was also known for her tight-laced corsets, at one point getting as small as 16 inches in circumference. Yes. So she was known for a few things. She was a little bit of a wild card. She would stay up all night reading and writing. How dare.
Oh,
yes.
A witch!
She would be smoking all night and riding horses. That was something she apparently really liked to do. And at age 51 in 1888, she got a tattoo of an anchor on her shoulder to reflect her love of the sea. So basically, she was just another lady born in a time that wanted her to basically have kids, serve the emperor, all while dealing with immense political pressure from all sides to be a perfect royal.
But she just wanted to be her.
Yeah, she just wasn't that person.
I kind of love her.
I figured you would. But wait, there's more. So there were a lot of territory disagreements at the time, and Austria was in a constant struggle to keep the kingdom of Lombardy, Venetia, under their rule. So this area fought for independence for many years, and only became the unified kingdom of Italy in 1859 when Austria finally seceded the territory. So just a fun little history lesson for you.
Yeah.
So this is all important because in 1898, 1 year prior to this change in rule, 60-year-old Elisabeth traveled to Geneva, Switzerland. She was warned against traveling alone by royal security due to the risk of being assassinated. Elisabeth ignored these warnings and traveled to the Hotel Beau Rivage with just her lady-in-waiting, a countess. At 1:35 p.m. on Saturday, September 1898, Elisabeth and her lady-in-waiting left the hotel to catch the steamship Genevieve for Montreux. Elisabeth hated people fussing all over her. Again, she didn't really want to be a royal.
Yeah.
And she hated processions, so she instead insisted on walking alone, just her and her countess. As they were walking, 25-year-old Italian anarchist Luigi Lucchini approached them and attempted to look under Elisabeth's parasol. As the nearby ship's bell started to ring, announcing their departure, Lucchini stumbled forward and his hand pressed itself against the Empress. As Lucchini fell into her, Elisabeth collapsed onto the ground, but was quickly able to get back up. After being hit in the chest, she stood, continued on her way, wondering why the man had struck her,
Did he pickpocket
or
her?
if maybe he was trying to steal from her.
Yeah.
Elisabeth had asked her companion, "What do you think that man wanted from me? Maybe my watch?" So Elisabeth and her companion continued walking towards the boat. They walked about 100 yards to board the boat, but once on the boat, Elisabeth lost consciousness and collapsed onto the deck. Her companion called out for a doctor, but they were only able to find another passenger who happened to be a nurse on board to help. Once the captain became aware that there was a lady passed out on the deck, he advised the countess to take Elisabeth back to the hotel and get off the boat. But the boat was already starting to sail away from the harbor.
Right.
And no one had told him that this was the Empress of Austria either.
Oh, shit. Yeah,
Yes.
there's that.
So, at this time, 3 men carried the Empress to the top deck of the boat, laid her out on a bench. Her companion, the Countess, opened Elisabeth's dress and cut the corset laces in the hopes that this would help her breathe better. At this, the Empress opened her eyes, responded that she wasn't in any pain, and stated her last words, "What actually did happen to me?" before losing consciousness. Upon further inspection, the Countess noticed a small brown stain above her left breast. Paired with the Empress's lack of responsiveness, the Countess decided now was the time to inform the captain of the Empress's identity, and the boat immediately turned around to get the Empress back to Geneva. So, the crew created a stretcher from a sail, cushions, 2 oars. 6 sailors carried her on a makeshift stretcher from the boat back to the hotel, and back at the hotel, Elisabeth was examined by the hotel director's wife, Fanny Mayer, who was a nurse. Fanny and the Countess noticed there were a few small drops of blood and a small wound on the Empress's chest. But at this point, they also realized that the Empress was already dead.
Oh, shit.
So 2 doctors and a priest finally arrived to pronounce her death at 2:10 p.m. So the next day, the autopsy was performed. It was found that what had killed her had penetrated 3.33 inches into her thorax, fractured her 4th rib, pierced the lung and pericardium, and penetrated the heart from the top before coming out of the base of her left ventricle.
Damn.
Yes. So, as you've probably figured out by now, Luigi Lucchesi did not trip and fall into the Empress by accident. Luigi had originally planned to kill the Duke of Orleans in protest of plutocracy. But the Duke had caught an earlier ship, and Luigi, failing to find the Duke, decided to assassinate Elisabeth instead when a Geneva newspaper accidentally leaked that the Empress of Austria was traveling the area under the pseudonym of Countess of Hohenems. When Luigi stumbled into the Empress, he stabbed her in the chest with a sharpened needle file that was 4 inches long.
Ugh.
Now, this file was very small as it was used to sharpen industrial needles, so it's very thin but very strong. He had fastened it to a wood handle to turn it into a weapon, and it's believed he specifically used an old rusty one to keep it from shining and catching attention as he fell into her. With the file having been so sharp and thin, the wound was very narrow, and due to the pressure from Elisabeth's extremely tight corsetting, the hemorrhage of blood into the pericardial sac around the heart was slowed to just a few drops at a time. So just the tiniest little leak every tick of her heartbeat. It took some time for the leak to obstruct her heart beating, which is why the Empress had been able to walk from the sidewalk up the boat's boarding ramp without losing consciousness.
That's nuts.
Yes. Another fun little fact, the medical examiner photographed the wound, but turned the photograph over to the Swiss procurator general, who had it destroyed on the orders of Franz Joseph, along with the autopsy instruments for respect of the Empress.
Ugh.
But yeah, I mean, if her corset hadn't been so tight, I mean, she would have probably started bleeding out pretty immediately. But by order of the emperor, her body was placed in a triple coffin, 2 inner ones of lead, the third and exterior one in bronze, all with like frills all over it. To ensure that the emperor could identify her body, her coffin was fitted with 2 glass panels, and the panels were covered with doors so that they could be slid back for her face to be seen.
Why lead?
I don't know.
I have some research to do.
I do wonder how they sealed those doors, though, or if they like can still open them, because her casket is above ground in a tomb next to her husband and child to this day. Yeah, like you can visit it, but it's obviously like walled off.
Right.
Not walled off, but
like cordoned
yes,
off or whatever.
Thank you. That work. So as for Luigi Lucchesi, he fled down towards the water and threw his file towards the entrance to one of the docks. He was found by 2 cab drivers and a sailor and turned in. The weapon wasn't found until the next day, and there was no blood on the file. The tip was broken off from attempting to dispose of it. Apparently, he had originally planned to purchase a stiletto, which is an actual knife of the same type, for those of you who don't know, but he couldn't afford it, so he decided to make this himself.
Wow.
Lucchesi said that the police interview, quote, "As the 2 of them stepped out onto the street, I was leaning on the railing of the lake shore. I ran towards her and blocked her way. I bent down and looked under the umbrella. I didn't want to get the wrong one. They both wore black. She wasn't particularly pretty. Quite old already."
Wow.
Right? Like insult to injury. "When I gave her a push, I knew she was going to die. I pushed with all my strength and felt the weapon penetrate deep into her chest. She also fell over as if struck by lightning." So Lucchesi was tried before the Geneva court, which he was pissed about because they had abolished the death penalty there. If they didn't kill him for his crime, he couldn't send the martyr message that he wanted to send. Yes. To this, he demanded that he be tried by the laws of the canton of Lucerne, which still had the death penalty in place. He penned a letter where he stated, quote, "I am an anarchist by conviction. I came to Geneva to kill a sovereign with object of giving example to those who suffer and those who do nothing to improve their social position. It did not matter to me who the sovereign was whom I should kill. It was not a woman I struck, but an empress. It was a crown that I had in view. Signed, Luigi Lucchesi, anarchist and one of the most dangerous."
I'm sorry, Luigi who? Oh, just kidding.
End quote. Since the Empress was famous for having preferred the company of the common man, known for her charitable works, and considered a blameless target in this situation, Lucchesi's sanity was questioned for a while. He was found to be sane, but was tried as a common murderer, not a political criminal. This ensured that he would be given a life in prison sentence and be denied the opportunity to make his political statement. At this, he attempted to kill himself in his cell with the sharpened key from a tin of sardines 2 years later. He failed. But 10 years later, he succeeded in hanging himself with the belt in his cell after a guard confiscated his incomplete memoirs.
Wow.
Yes. So one more fun little fact before I end this. Her death actually resulted in the International Conference of Rome for the Social Defense Against Anarchists, which was the first international conference against terrorism.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had never heard of any of that. That was freaking fascinating.
Yeah.
And you say there's more?
Yes. Oh my God. There's so much more. Like, I know this was a long one, but like I would finish it and then I was like, oh, but I really wanted to talk about this. Oh, but I really want to talk about this. Like, she just had such a like chaotic life, but she also had a very like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, I don't give a fuck attitude. But she was also very beautiful, very classy, very like, you know what I mean? Like, she was just kick ass.
Right.
Yeah. And she was very for the people. You know, she was known, and that's kind of why there was this weird because the emperor and the past emperors at the time were very well known for being like, well, this is we're the rich, you're the poor, like you serve us, and
Right.
and we're class, like you don't talk to us, you just do what you're told and pay your taxes, and if you can't pay, you die, and this whole thing. And she was very much one of those people that started kind of turning around, like, that is a human being. You can't expect them to work in these conditions. You can't expect this, like trying to humanize these people who are humans. And so that's why a lot of the back and forth between all the territories was happening, because there was the anarchy group who was very much like, well, we really want to take down the emperor, but I think the empress is trying to change him. Maybe we see this out. I don't really know. And so I think that was a lot of that played into the whole, like, why they would not let these kinds of statements be made. But yeah, there was a lot of death. And it's really interesting too, if you look into, maybe I'll give you that as my to add to the nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing about her son Rudolph and the murder-suicide and the cover-ups that were attempted behind all that, and the way evidence was falsified, and just the levels they went to. It was insane.
That's crazy. You don't really think about that kind of intrigue and fuckery happening in these pristine Victorian times. They were very fucking dark, but you know, but you know, proper, you know. But that was really fascinating.
Yeah. I've been waiting to do that one.
Got a couple of would you rathers for you.
All right.
Got some from me.
Yes. So, would you rather find a human finger in your backyard or a complete stranger's family photo album under your bed?
Sorry.
She's looking up at the ceiling.
I'm thinking like, you know, a finger in the yard doesn't actually really seem too sinister to me.
You're like, oh, someone lost a finger.
Yeah, like that just seems like a dumb tool accident, and one of the neighborhood cats was carrying it around and dropped it. I don't know.
That's not alarming. It's fine.
It, you know, I don't know. It doesn't seem so scary. And it seems really eerie and scary, the idea of the photo album under my bed, but it also sounds really cool.
Oh my God. No, because you don't believe in ghosts. And so that means there's a real person under your bed.
It's photo albums, you said.
Yeah, but who's reading those photo albums in your room?
Fair.
Did you not think of how it would have
Clearly.
Okay, you go.
Okay. Would you rather be in a river full of piranhas or a jungle full of tigers?
Jungle tigers. I can't escape rivers with piranhas, 1. And 2, I'm afraid of water that I can't see in. So definitely, I'd rather go for the unknown and be mauled to death than drown while being eaten.
I would just assume they're being cute kitty cats. And I would also go with the tigers. Okay, you go.
Would you rather find out your house was built on an ancient burial ground or a site of a historical massacre?
I mean, you're on dead bodies either way. I would the massacre. That depends. Is it like a political? Is it like a military thing?
I don't know. I don't have details.
I mean,
what are your parameters, I suppose?
I don't know. I feel like on the burial ground feels disrespectful.
Yes.
So that's why.
And then you're going to garden there? Like,
I mean, chances are the nutrients are fantastic in that soil.
Next. Yes.
Would you rather be trapped in a room with spiders crawling over you or snakes slithering around your feet?
Snake.
Yes.
Like, I like spiders, but they like to go places and then you can't find them. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know where you're hiding.
I don't know, man. I've seen a garden snake like pop up and like wiggle its way like almost like it was on its feet, which it doesn't have. Just wiggle around really, really fast, like in ways I did not expect a garden snake to move.
I love snakes so much. I would have one if I could, but I feel bad leaving them in like, because you need to give them like huge enclosures if you want them to grow to like a real good, nice size. But would you rather be able to speak to the dead, but they all resent you, or be friends with a demon who secretly plans your demise?
Am I not already friends with you, the demon? No, just kidding. Oh, don't look at me like that. Now I think I'm right. So a demon that plots my demise, or what?
Would you rather be able to speak to the dead, but they all resent you, or be friends with a demon who secretly plans your demise?
So I feel like I should say the ones that resent me, but like if I know that somebody resents me and I can tell, like I would hate that. But if he's secretly plotting my demise, then I'm good because I don't have the anxiety about it because I think everything's fine.
Exactly.
So that one.
But then you're going to die eventually. Quicker, probably.
We're all going to die.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's our nightmare.
Yeah.
Sweet dreams.
Have a good night.
If you have topic requests, book or movie recommendations, or just want to say hi, email us at nightmarecottage@gmail.com or visit our website at nightmarecottage.com. Sweet dreams.